there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking Janet, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. We're talking her performance. I'm reacting and reviewing to her headlining performance last night at the 30th anniversary of the Essence Music Festival. And we're going to get into the set list first, and then I'm going to give some more commentary. So Janet only had an hour. I don't know why they didn't schedule her next or for the very last performance like they did the night before, having Usher being the last performance, because after that I think it was the Frankie Beverly and Maze and I think somebody else, and the thing was the crowd was like filing out after, and Brian Michael Cox was trying to play like the wobble and was trying to get people like to stick around, and the people, I think at that point it was like 1 something in the morning. But nonetheless, we are going to get into it. So, Janet comes out. So she is wearing, I guess it's called the Fear of God collection by a company called, well, I guess it's called Fear of God is the name of the connection, but I guess they call it Essentials. So nonetheless, it's like some type of sportswear athleisure, and it looks like it was custom in addition to some sort of collaboration with Adidas per what her backup dancers had on. So she had 4 backup dancers. So the one thing I appreciate about this set list, that artists can take note, is Janet started off with her slow song. And then eased into the mid to the up tempo tracks, right? That are like the high power dance routines, right? So she starts off with No Sleep, then she transitions into Got Till It's Gone, then she transitions into That's the Way Love Goes, and then next is Anytime, Any Place, and then she mixes in the chorus, Kendrick Lamar's Poetic Justice, that he of course samples Anytime, Any Place. She remixed that in there. Also, she did the I Get So Lonely remix version, which is the one featuring Blackstreet. Then she did Love Will Never Do Without You, What Have You Done For Me Lately, Nasty Boys, and in Nasty Boys there was a mix of Back That Thing Up You Guys by Juvenile. So that was pretty cool. Then Pleasure Principle was next. Then You Want This. And actually, Janet, you could tell at that point, like, she was just, like, into it. Then she did When I Think of You, All For You, All Right, Escapade, Miss You Much, Feedback, So Excited. Then on The Knowledge, you guys. So The Knowledge, there was a mix in there at the end of Chubb rock song, you guys, Treat 'Em Right. And my dad's like a huge Chubb's rock fan, so I like clipped the video and like sent it to him at like 2 in the morning. And I was like, Dad, you got to look at this mix of what Janet did. I was so hyped because I was like, oh, this is so cool. Because normally Janet will do like maybe a couple of transitions of songs or whatever mixed into her set list, but last night there were so many different mixes she was doing. There were so many remixes that were incorporated into the set list that I really appreciated, and so I thought it was really cool. Then she went into If, and so then before she got to the dance breakdown of If, she then went into Scream. And so Michael Jackson's verse is playing, of course, on like the big screen display. And then Janet comes out and she's like, you could just tell she is like in her element. However, you could kind of see in her eyes, like I know it's got to be hard for her when she performs this, especially since recently this was like the anniversary of Michael Jackson's death and everything else. So nonetheless, but she killed it. So instead of doing the dance breakdown for Scream, she then transitioned, she mixed in after her part the If breakdown, and then she like slowed it down so that every single point of the If performance, the If infamous dance breakdown, if you will, was completely captured, right? So then from there, Janet performs Black Cat. Then Janet performs Rhythm Nation, and that was the conclusion. And to leave out, your set list so many hits, you guys, because you only have an hour, and to close your show out with a song that was a hit, you guys, over 30 plus years ago, it is impressive. If Janet had a little bit more time, I think she would have done an encore, or had Janet been the last performance of the night, I think Janet would have done an encore, because this was like the first concert I think I've seen of Janet's that didn't have Together Again, which was odd. So just in recent years of all the Janet concerts I've been to, this is like the first time I'd seen a Janet set list, a Janet concert, and there was no Together Again. So, but that just speaks to the kind of discography that Janet has and how many hits that she has. And it was everything. So Janet, the mic was on the whole night. There was no lip syncing, you guys. Janet was talking to the crowd all night. She was flirting with the crowd, and it was just hilarious because she's talking about some adult stuff, some X-rated stuff at times, but yet she's in this big old athletic suit. She's not like the old Janet that used to be, you know, wearing the more revealing costumes and all of the things. But she still incorporated some things in the performance, such as reaching down to the nether regions of one of her male dancers and some other things that were taking place. But nonetheless, you know, completely live. Janet said she's been doing this for over 50 plus years, said that she is 58 years old and still serving, and she's moving more than your faves, you guys. But this is what, you know, people need to take into account. This is what professionalism looks like. This is what it looks like when you do not need all the bells and whistles and all of the machines and like 500 dancers and all the glitz and glam. If you just have nothing but hits, you guys, all you have to do is show up. Show up like Janet in a sweatsuit, you guys, and everybody is going to go crazy. Everybody's going to lose their mind because the choreography was on point. She is moving better than some people half Janet's age. So nonetheless, I mean, it is motivational, you guys. And she only had 4 dancers, so she just has the 4 backup dancers who have been dancing with her for quite some time now, because I saw them when I saw her on the same tour last year when Ludacris was the opening act. I believe now this year Nelly's the opening act, but it's still the same tour. But nonetheless, you know, this set list was so cool. I was very impressed with everything, with the transitions, the precise dancing. I was laughing because I thought for sure we were going to get a costume change. And the costume change that Janet had was like rolling up the sleeves at one point. And I'm like, Janet is unserious right now. But yeah, she did not have a costume change technically. Technically, she was in the same outfit the entire time, with the exception of at some point during the show, the sleeves of the jacket was rolled up. But there was no actual costume change other than her dancers, because her dancers, poor things, were like sweating through their outfits. So nonetheless, they had to have some costume changes. But nonetheless, Janet killed it for that hour straight. There was anytime you thought that there was like going to be an extended break or something, Janet's right there talking to you, even if she's getting a water break. So it was everything, right? But just hit after hit, and it just shows how much, you know, Janet has worked over the years, and I'm so happy for her because I believe this is like one of her most successful tours, and she's killing it. She's professional. She is, you know, everybody is in love. Like the set list, like I said, I love the genius of starting out slow and transitioning to your more faster, high-powered tunes, because typically what artists do now is they'll start off with like a crowd jumping type of song, or like a song to get you guys energized, and then from there they'll transition to slow songs. But a lot of times they'll transition into slow songs that you don't care about or that are not hits, right? Whereas at least with Janet, like all of her slow songs are also hits as well, so it's no big deal. But nonetheless, they start off high power, then they go into some slow stuff, and then they close out with either whatever their latest hit is or their biggest hit, or sometimes something high powered, but it's not always a guarantee, right? But I love how Janet did this set list. I love how the mix goes. I love the poetic justice braids, the look that Janet is going for this particular tour. This outfit's a little bit different from the outfits that she's wearing on her actual tour, and I believe that is in part since she was outdoors and it is over 100 degrees plus humidity in New Orleans, that Janet needed something that was a little bit more loose and a little bit more and it seemed, I didn't even see any sweat stains, you guys, on Janet. So I was like, what is this material, this Fear of God Essentials, that you do not see any type of pit stains or like anything on Janet's clothes? No sign of sweat other than if you looked at her face, you guys. And I was like, what is this material that Janet has on to where there is nothing is out of place at all? You can't even tell that she's sweating unless you're like looking directly in her face, right? But nonetheless, everything was amazing. So some behind the scenes stuff, Janet went live prior to her performance, because her performance was supposed to start, I believe, at 10:40 to 11:40, but you know these things never start when they're supposed to. So nonetheless, Janet didn't really come out until I believe it's 12:30 or 12:35 or something along the lines there. And because it ended at sometime after 1:30 or whatever, because I'm like, that's part of the reason I'm tired today. But nonetheless, she did a live on her Instagram prior to her going out on stage and having a prayer with her dancers, and then the camera kind of showed her going under a mock-up dressing room, if you will, I think for like a last minute touch-up of makeup. And I don't know how big this stadium is, but Janet had a long walk to wherever the stage was versus wherever she was backstage getting ready at and everything. And so then it cut off like right before Janet was about to go on stage. And then afterwards, Janet and her team and her dancers and everybody, they went back on a private jet because she's back on tour. So nonetheless, this was like an additional, date for her. But I'm like, how many Essence festivals has Janet done? Because I feel like she's done like at least 9 or 10 of them. Like, I'm not even exaggerating, out of the 30 years. Because it definitely is always bringing in, the people, the sales, the views, everything. And it's always a great job that she does, you guys. But definitely she killed it. And it was cute because when she was flying back on the private plane with like her team, her dancers and everyone, somebody had held up to her the actual like performance, the actual stream, because those of you who don't know, that was the other issue. So some people were streaming on YouTube, except for YouTube did not have the Janet performance. The Janet performance, you had to see either on Essence.com or you had to be, I think, on TikTok. But nonetheless, people that were waiting on YouTube, you guys were just chatting amongst yourselves unless you had another device available to stream the Janet Jackson performance. But it was funny because there were so many people complaining. They're like, why is my screen, I don't see Janet. I don't see what's going on. Why can't I see anything? And it's like, you guys all need to go to Essence.com. What is wrong with you? So communication, I think, from Essence, a little bit more better to the fans that are not at the Essence Music Festival, where they can stream these performances, where they could watch, because I think there was lots of confusion. However, currently on YouTube, you can see Janet's hour-long performance, and I will be sure to pin that in the comments for those of you who are not able to see it. You guys can take a look at the hour-long set and let me know what you guys think. There also was commentary on how some people felt about the fans or lack thereof, but not that it wasn't packed. But at times when it was panning out to the crowd, it was like the people in the first few rows, I think some of them were just in a trance, you guys. I think some of them, they were so transfixed by Janet, they couldn't even move. And so, but some people interpreted that as like, why aren't you guys dancing and moving like crazy and blah, 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 blah. But now I'm starting to see some fan footage finally from the actual people who were physically there. And it just sounded like it was pure mayhem. it just, I mean, there was just so much screaming, you guys. There was just so much going on. So you know, again, the representative of the first few rows was not technically what was going on with everybody else. Everybody else was losing their minds, and it was loud. The crowd was loud. That was the other thing too. Normally on these festivals, when you're able to stream it, you're able to get kind of a good idea of how loud and how engaged the crowd is. And unfortunately for both the Usher performance as well as the Janet performance, I couldn't make out whether or not the crowd was into it or not. Like, I assume so, because it's Janet Jackson. But the way now that Essence really tunes out the fans and the audience kind of isn't fun, because you don't really know. You kind of feel like you're alone, like you're alone watching it, right? And you're getting your life and everything else, and everybody else. It seems like it's like the mute challenge in the audience. But nonetheless, once I saw some of the fans' actual concert footage, it definitely was not that. It definitely was loud. It definitely was crazy. Everybody was singing along. Everybody was going insane for Janet. So I love that for her. I am happy for her. For her to continue to do this at 58 is incredible, and it should make all of you guys, you know, want to get in the gym, want to start working out, want to, you know, get in tip-top shape, because Janet is, you know, she's like I said, she's moving better than people half her age, you guys. And furthermore, so Victoria Monet was the artist that performed before Janet, right? And Victoria Monet, as you guys know, on her latest single, Alright, she has like a portion where she is wearing like the pinstripe suits compared to Janet Jackson's actual Alright video. Even though the actual song has nothing to do with Janet, but due to the song title, she is doing that reference. And so, just to give you guys some context. So during Janet's set, there apparently was video, because apparently Victoria Monet was front row at the Janet's, you know, performance last night. And so the camera had panned to her, and she was like losing it. And then I don't know if this happened before or after the show, Victoria Monet was able to meet Janet Jackson and was able to give her a hug and have a small chat with her and take pictures. And then afterwards they filmed Victoria Monet, and she said that, you know, she just completely fumbled through the conversation with Janet because she was in so much awe, she couldn't believe it. So that was great. And the thing is, as somebody who's met Janet a couple times, I totally get it. Like, it's so, you think you're like, and you don't understand like what just happened, because she's like so sweet and she's so humble and she's so nice. And you never know, like with celebrities, but you kind of get an idea of how some celebrities are when you like watch them in interviews and you kind of watch their behind the scenes stuff that they like to share with fans. So I kind of had an idea, but you still get nervous, you guys. You still get nervous. You still don't know what you're going to anticipate when you meet her. But she is just the friendliest and the most humble, and she compliments you. Like, it's just crazy. I'm like, you are the superstar. You are Janet Jackson, right? I'm just the fan. I'm just the fan that attended your concert, right? That's been to your show since a kid. But nonetheless, you know, it took me back to, you know, again, her set list. Like I said, if she had like another 15, 20 minutes or so, it would have very much been the full set list that I think is doing now on the tour, on the Together Again tour. But again, she just didn't have time. She just only had an hour. But nonetheless, like I said, it was the first show that I did not see you on the set list Together Again, which was odd. But again, there were so many other hits. And the other side, those of you who have not been on this tour at all, is that she does some of the songs that she doesn't typically perform always on her concert tours. And so that was kind of a nice ode too. So some of those songs were the ones that were kind of left off the set list. But nonetheless, Janet still killed it. Janet still did what needed to be done. Janet is the blueprint. Janet is the standard. Janet is, you know, who everybody is, you know, trying to, you know, emulate in one way or the other. And, you know, it's worth every penny, you guys. It is worth the cost of admission. So those of you who have not had an opportunity, if you've never seen Janet in concert, please go. Please go while you can and see Janet for as long as she continues to tour, because I'm telling you, it is worth it. The tickets, the experience, everything is worth it. It is going to be like a big, reunion amongst the crowd because everybody is diehard Janet fans. So nonetheless, you are in good company, you guys. So there is that. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.